Go Planet!
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero.
What's going on, guys? Rogue TCG here. Please make sure to follow, like, subscribe, smash the like button, and tell me what your favorite part of this video was. This is going to be a Magical Musketeer deck profile for the upcoming format of 2023, around November-ish. I believe this deck might be well aimed to counter that likes of Batpro decks and Rescue Ace, given people's inability to really process these cards and what they do, given what is currently in the meta. So we are just going to get started. All of our Magical Musketeer main deck monsters have an ability where you can activate Magical Musket spells and traps from your hand as if they were a quick play spells like in the Runic archetype. So we can play with our hands with the things that we add to our hand, and our main monster is going to be our Link 1. We should cover this first before anything else. We are running 3, but I only have 1 copy on hand. It's Magical Musketeer Max. This card says 1 level 8 or lower Magical Musket monster as material. If this card is link summoned, you can activate one of these effects. Add Magical Musket spells or traps of different names from your deck to your hand up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, or special summon Magical Musket monsters with different names from your deck up to the number of spells and traps your opponents control. You can only use each effect of it once per turn, and during either player's turn, you can activate Magical Musket spell or traps from your hand. So this also has the Magical Musket spell trap text on it, but essentially this means if we are going second, as long as we can either protect this and negate some stuff that is trying to negate his effects, we can get in a game-winning position, kind of like how Rescue Ace has their +4. We also have 2 different +4s depending on what strategies we are going against. But that's enough yapping. Let's get to the deck profile. We are starting off with triple Magical Musketeer Caspar. The main deck monsters have an effect where if a spell or trap is activated in the same column as these monsters, they get a beneficial effect, and Caspar will add a Magical Musket card from our deck to our hand. And this will count for our opponents too, so sometimes we can normal summon a card into a zone that they have a card in, and it basically gives their card a detrimental effect if they want to activate it. So we have triple Caspar, because this is the reinforcement of the army. One issue is these cards do have a low attack value, and they are light fiends. However, there are some cards in the extra deck can utilize these low attack values on them, as well as the swarming capability of Max, and I will go over them. We are running triple Starfire. Starfire has the effect when a spell or trap is activated in the column. I'm going to call them column effects from now on. It'll special summon a musket monster from our deck in defense position that's level 4 or lower. So this is very good for helping us swarm the board and get Caspar, which lets us search. We are running 2 Magical Musketeer Kid Braves. Their column effect is during either player's turn. You can activate them, and then when the column effect is you can discard a musket card to draw 2 cards. So it lets you pitch 1 to draw 2. Which is useful. However, you are getting rid of some resources, but this one is the largest body at 1600, which is of note. We are running 2 Magical Musketeer Docks. This column effect lets you add a musket card from your graveyard to your hand, but not with the same one that activated in its column if one did. So you can't activate, for example, one of the spells and try and get the same spell name from the grave back to your hand. It has to be a different one. But this one's very good at helping us in the long game and letting us keep our resources, because we do run out of resources from deck very quickly. Lastly, the one of is Magical Musketeer Calamity. Calamity lets you reborn a card for its column effect, and this one is 1500, while the other one is 14. We do have level 4s in the deck in Starfire and Calamity. So very often we can just grab Calamity off of Starfire to make a 4. If we do run that 4xes, we are running 1 Eldritch the Golden Lord, and it's very breedable art. This card is spot removal using excess spells and traps from our hand, and it is a large body on board because this deck does struggle with putting numbers up because they are very small. So it's a large, basically very hard to remove body on the board if we do choose to send a spell or trap that we don't need to the grave from board. And there is one in the deck that we can get rid of once we get usage out of it. That's going to be it for the main deck monsters. Now we get onto the hand traps. We are running triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That's it for the monster hand traps. Now we are going to our magical musket spells and traps. We are running triple Cross Domination. This is a very good card, the best card you can have in terms of monster negation. If you control a magical musket card, target a face-up monster on the field until end of turn, change its attack and defense to 0, and it has its effects negated. Not only does it reduce something, so you can activate this in the damage step, but also it is a negate. Ooh, cat's fucking up some shit. Now we have Magical Musket Last Stand. Oh. Damn. Magical Musket Last Stand. This is a spell and trap negate at spell speed 3. Very good card. It just helps. It basically lets you respond to something that they can't respond with because it is a counter trap, even if you are activating it from hand. We have Magical Musketeer Despacito or Desperado. This is functionally a Trident. It lets you just pop a card, face up a card on the board. Very useful and flexible. This is the thing that we are going to be grabbing most frequently. We have 2 Magical Musketeer Dancing Needle. This is DD Crow on crack. When it's activated, you can target up to 3 cards in the graveyard, so either yours or theirs, and banish them. And you can only activate it once per turn. But this banishes 3 cards from the grave. So from the Rescue Ace player, you can banish all their things, so they can't really recur too much. And it just really lets you just prevent some certain strategies from really thriving against this deck. And we do have the 3rd one in the sideboard if they are playing a graveyard-centric deck. This is the card that we will be sending to the graveyard via Eldritch, Magical Musket Crooked Crown. If you control a musket during the main phase, you can special summon a magical musket from your hand, and it has a column effect where it prevents your opponents from summoning in the column. However, it's only 1, so it's not very usable. But we can, after we get the summon effect, we can send it to the grave off Eldritch because we are no longer using it really, and it's taking up a column. That's going to be it for the muskets. Now on to the honorary muskets. Link into the Brains. This card gets over the previous issue that Musket faced before, whereas if you got rid of their normal summoned monster, they couldn't really do too much if you got rid of it like immediately. So Link into the Brains gets around that, because if they get rid of it, it says special summon 1 monster from your hand but negates its effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon 1 Link monster using monsters you control as material, including that monster. This Link summon cannot be negated. Also, your opponents can activate cards or effect when a monster is Link summoned this way, meaning they cannot respond to your max effect. And if a Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this is in your grave, you can banish this card, add 1 monster from your grave to your hand with the same original type as one of those destroyed monsters. So this is also recursion. This is an insane power-up for the deck. It lets you really utilize your max to its potential, and it basically means this deck is so powerful at going second because of Link in the Brains. Because if they don't negate Link into the Brains, if they don't know what you're up to, and they go, oh, it's a Salaman Great player, sure, we can let them do that, they are going to get punished. So we got 3 of that. We are running 3 triple tactics talent. Our stuff does tend to get negated, and we do tend to fetch interaction from our opponents, so might as well get some advantage off this in the form of a spell card we can activate behind a musket. Triple Pot of Prosperity. We are running a very flexible extra deck because we don't really tend to grab from there too much outside of max and our main game plan. So we can run a flexible extra deck with Prosp, which we can also activate behind a musket, which also fixes one of the issues of the deck where you're not able to find musket monster names. This lets us find them. So we're running 3 of that. We are running the 1 Called by the Grave. And lastly, we are rounding out this deck with triple infinite impermanence. We can set it behind a musket to activate. We can negate stuff in their column, so more column shenanigans. It's thematic. So we're running 3 of that. Now on to the extra deck. As I previously mentioned, we are running 3 Magical Musketeer Max. It is a 1000 attack monster, which I will go over with the cards soon enough. We are running double Nightmare Phoenix in order to make sure we have that back row removal, because this deck can sometimes struggle against back row heavy decks, even though you do have Max now, and with the Vrains. We are running a new card, Pit Knight Philly, along with Pit Knight Early. Now we can see their true potential. This is for when you use Magical Musketeer Max's second effect to special summon monsters from your deck. This card will be over here, and then you summon, let's say, for example, 4 monsters. You can make Link 2 here and Link 2 here. Early says when a monster at this point activates its effect, target an effect monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn changes its attack to 0 and negate its effects. And then Philly says, if this card is special summoned to a Link zone, monster or Link monster points to, you can target one monster you control with 1500 or less attack. This turn, it can make 2 attacks during the battle phase, and if it battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage is doubled. So, for example, you can target your early, you can target your max. If you target your early, you're going to be doing 6,000 damage to your opponent through an attack position 0 attack monster. And then you have your other 2 to finish off if you manage to clean up their board using your Musketeer effects, including the one that changes their monster's attack to 0. So this is a very good way to kill your opponents that I don't think people are really too aware about. But I am very excited to see how this performs in the upcoming meta. Next, we are running Ningirsus because we are running a very large Link package. Ningirsu uses Link monsters, and when it's summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of World Chalice monsters it points to. Not really relevant. You can use the effect of Ningirsu, the World Chalice Warrior, once per turn. Once per turn, you can send 1 card from each player's field to the graveyards. If this was sent from the field to the grave, you can special a World Chalice from your hand. Not really happening, but it is a send removal. And it doesn't target, so it is Ningirsu in a Link monster. And you can send something useless, or you can send itself, or whatever. We are running double Nightmare Unicorn, so we can have that extra accessibility for spinning cards, because some of the cards in the metagame are a little bit stickier. We are running a Trisbana for back row heavy decks, as well as an Avermax and a Zelantis, because I wanted to run Zelantis. Honestly, it's a for fun pick. I had a very flexible extra deck, and I wanted to put the Zelantis in because we can do Link Climb shenanigans with our Max now that it is very difficult to interact with. And then we are running 2 Link Xyz 4s. We are running Redoer and a Dweller for Tearlament, in case we do come across that. And I do actually have a side deck for this deck. It is, I believe it's only 13 cards, so it still needs a little bit of work. But we are running double Raigeki, double Lightning Storm, their spells, Change of Heart and Feather Duster, as well as the 1 Dancing Needle. We are running 2 Phantasme, 2 Enemy Controller, 2 D-Barrier, and a Dimensional Fissure, because we kind of don't really care if our stuff gets banished. Typically, we're only sending this in if it really hurts our opponent, and it won't hurt us too much. Thank you guys for sticking through this whole video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and do all the following that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video. I've been really appreciating all the support, and I'm going to keep, pumping out videos. Hope we got some stuff in the works, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.